Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I'm your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel and the Dragon Suplex Podcasting Network. It's been a fun week in wrestling. It's going to be a great day in wrestling. Cyber Fight is going to happen in the wee hours of the morning. New Japan Dominion is going to happen in the wee hours of the morning. I'm talking to you guys right now as UFC 275 is taking place. I'm talking to you guys right now as NWA Always Ready is taking place. I got so much wrestling to watch that I thought that I would just cover AEW right now, because odds are I'm not going to be able to put up a podcast and watch all the wrestling that I got to watch for a number of days. I got work. I got a beer mile to host. I got a Durham Bulls baseball game to go to on Tuesday. So it's going to take me a while, so I wanted just to put up an AEW episode, or, just a fun little episode, a little weekend episode for you guys. And, we're going to start with the news. We're going to go into AEW, and the guy who's constantly in the news the past few years is Jake Paul, and he, is in the news again. Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury, Tyson Fury's brother, is set for August 13th. This was supposed to happen in January. Fury got hurt, and everyone knows who's been listening to this podcast for a while that I'm a big Jake Paul fan. I like Kanye West, or like old Kanye West. I like a little Cam Newton. I like MJF. So I like all these guys who are eccentric heels, and I feel like Jake Paul has been the best heel in the sports entertainment realm for the past few years. Number one heel. He's back August 13th, and I'm excited. But of course, Fury isn't the only guy who wants to get at Jake Paul. WWF Brawl for All legend Butterbean challenged Jake Paul as well. That would be a spectacle for sure. Jake Paul, he knows how to talk people into the stands. He knows how to talk people into pay-per-view buys. He gets people so wound up to want to see him get his ass beat that they're willing to pay money, and then he doesn't get his ass beat. So odds are they're going to pay again. It looks that way. We'll see what the numbers look like for this Fury fight, but I, for one, am excited. Blueface, rapper Blueface, versus Nick Young will take place July 30th in a celebrity boxing match. I think Nick Young is going to get his ass beat. He was kind of a pretty boy on the court. I couldn't really see him fighting on the court. And Blueface, the rapper, known for throwing tons of money out on Skid Row, and I don't really even know a song that he's in, but I do know who he is. I do know what he looks like, and I do know that he already has a winning record in bare knuckle boxing. So smart money's on Blueface. Put your Blueface on Blueface. Yes, I did have to look up what Blueface meant, but it's the new $100 bill is a blue face, and he represents $100 bills. So that's kind of a cool little gimmick he's got for himself, and I think he's going to knock out Nick Young. Maybe Blueface will make his way into fighting Jake Paul. He does have a winning streak in bare knuckle boxing, which you got to be pretty tough to do that shit. And after he won the fight, a fan jumped in, and he ended up having to fight that fan. So he, in my eyes, he's 2-0 in one night. Some more people that got into a fight: Jericho versus MVP. Apparently, in a hotel room after an AEW taping, Matt Hardy and Jericho were hanging out. MVP showed up. Apparently, this is, what happened here. And Jericho and MVP started yelling at each other. People thought that they were joking, so they didn't really break it up. But I guess it got to the point where they obviously weren't joking. Hardy says it was a tense situation. Jericho did say something like he doesn't fight jobbers, where, the former United States champion is no jobber. Competed in New Japan, competed in WWE for a number of years. MVP is no jobber, and I think they know that. But I don't think he's on the same level as Jericho as far as the pro wrestling world goes. But I do think he would have whooped Jericho's ass. He has a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background. He's been to prison. A number of things like that make me think that he could maybe fight a little better than the aging rock and roller that is Jericho. People are linking this dispute to a tweet that Jericho made about the 2020 election, where Jericho ended up blocking MVP because MVP told Jericho to delete the tweet. But that still seems kind of strange to me. I don't think that a little misunderstanding like that on Twitter would build to the point where you're confronting a guy in the lobby of a hotel. MVP doesn't seem like, to me, like the guy who would give a fuck if he got blocked on Twitter. So in my eyes, I'm thinking they run in the same circles. People were trying to squash this beef, and then the beef didn't get squashed. I don't know. Maybe some private conversations led to this confrontation, but I don't think it was just some Twitter beef that led to two grown men getting mad and meeting up in a hotel room. Now let's jump over to the world of AEW. Gonna give my overall thoughts before I give you guys the official ranking of every single match from Dynamite and Rampage this week. State Farm logo is on the ring apron. I thought that was a nice touch. Get your money. You got to pay these WWE guys somehow, right? Trent coming out, cutting a promo, leads to FTR coming out, which leads to Will Ospreay and the United Empire coming out. Sign me up. We'll get to that a little later. But I thought the promos were pretty good. Hangman cutting a good promo after his match. Wardlow cutting a good promo. Tony Schiavone and the Baddies seem to have pretty good chemistry there. Britt Baker is pretty much a league of her own as far as on the mic in this women's division. The hair versus hair hype video, I'm hyped. Bring it on. Bring on Road Rager. Miro, the film promo was always hilarious. And it was, hilarious this week as well. And then, even Ethan Page, he's pretty good on the mic. It just seemed like they let all the best talkers they had talk this week. And it led to, some pretty good promos. I would say the promos all were good, where there's only a few really good matches. So, in my eyes, I think in this kind of wrestling first promotion this week, the promos maybe I won't say outshine, but definitely did better overall than a lot of the matches. But here we go, ranking every single match from worst to first. The bottom of the totem pole, Saddam Singh and Jay Lethal versus Fidget and Vega. Of course, two jobbers. Jericho doesn't fight them, that. Singh got tagged in and just ran roughshod. Double lethal combination, 1, 2, 3. The next one up, Rosa and Shafir. That's right. Everyone knows how much I love Thunder Rosa, but this Maria Shafir just is a charisma vacuum, it seems like. This match was a clusterfuck. I think Maria Shafir is trying to change the game, trying to bring it into mixed martial arts, but I don't think she's mastered or even got out of an elementary level of the game she's in. So she's trying to change the game without figuring out the game in the first place, if that makes sense. She's got to read the rule book first before she goes outside the rule book. This was a kind of a sloppy match. I remember the last time Maria Shafir wrestled, the crowd got quiet too, and the crowd was quiet here. Rosa gets the victory. Shafir attacks her after the bell. Toni Storm comes in to make the save and picks up the women's championship, kind of teasing that she wants a shot at that title. Number 7 out of 9. That's right, 9 matches. And I'm putting the Battle Royal, the lowest ranked Battle Royal ever. I usually love Battle Royals. I'm a sucker for Battle Royals. Usually I just put the Battle Royal at the top. But this one, I talk a lot about the guys that were in the Battle Royal usually. But let's talk about the guys who weren't in this Battle Royal for this review. Wardlow, MJF, Hangman Page, Jericho, Sting, Matt Hardy, Adam Cole, Samoa Joe, Malachi Black. A lot of the guys I named were on the show and also didn't wrestle. This was just, kind of ridiculous to me. This is supposed to replace your biggest star being injured and lead to a title match. And you just have guys that most of them probably wouldn't win the TNT title. And here you have them in this, casino battle royal. Where were these stars? Where were these big names? Do these big names not want the title? Why weren't they there? Legitimately, I don't know. Maybe there was like a COVID thing that happened where a lot of guys couldn't wrestle, because it did seem like, a lot of guys that usually don't get a lot of mic time or a lot of ring time were getting that mic time and ring time this week. Like Trent Beretta usually doesn't come out and cut a promo in the ring. Things like that. But nonetheless, you have a roster of stars, and it seemed like not too many stars were in this battle royal. Kyle O'Reilly gets the victory here. I was shocked about that. I thought it was going Darby. Darby seemed to get pushed to the moon during the pandemic era, during the Daily Place era of Dynamite. But it seems like for the past few months, I mean, he wrestles Andrade, gets the victory. He wrestles Jeff Hardy in the main event slot, but he doesn't seem to ever cross that plane into the upper echelon like it seems like Kyle O'Reilly already does. Kyle O'Reilly beat him at the pay-per-view and then beats everybody in this battle royal. I don't really know what I think Kyle O'Reilly is a great wrestler, but he doesn't have that charisma as Darby Allin. And I think Darby Allin's fans would stay with the program into the second hour more so than Kyle O'Reilly's fans. It seems like Kyle O'Reilly's fans would just maybe watch the next day, and you want people hooked. And I think Darby had people hooked for a number of months here, and they seem to just not be as high on him as they were a year ago. Number 6 out of 9, Finlay versus Hangman Page. David lands a great dropkick, snug chops from both men, big dive from Hangman Page, and then as he dives, he looks up and he drinks a female fan's beer. And I know Hangman Page is a married man, but she was blushing pretty hard, smiling from ear to ear. She was super stoked about giving Hangman her beer. She would have probably given a little bit more to him if given the opportunity. Buckshot lariat, 1, 2, 3. Hangman gets the victory, and he cuts a good promo here. I think he cuts a promo that makes sense. Where Wardlow's promo, where he's saying all this stuff about, how he doesn't want the title unless Punk has the title. I've heard other podcasts bring it up, but I'm going to bring it up here too because it just makes sense. If you only want to face the title or face Punk for the championship, being the interim champion would be the best way to get that shot eventually. And Wardlow has beaten Punk. Didn't Wardlow beat Punk, or Punk beat Wardlow? There's unfinished business there from Raleigh, North Carolina, where Punk and Wardlow wrestled each other back in the MJF Punk feud. So I don't know why he's giving so much credit to Punk here. It was just, I know I'm supposed to be talking about the matches here, but I thought that promo was a little ridiculous and was not a valid excuse to why Wardlow was not in this Battle Royal and why the Battle Royal was so weak. You had Austin Gunn in there and you didn't have Adam Cole in there. You're telling me that Austin Gunn theoretically could get a world title shot, and then Samoa Joe, Malachi Black, and those kinds of wrestlers aren't even competitors? I'm going to stop talking about this Battle Royal because we're going to be having to talk about Red Velvet and Chris Statlander. I think this was the best match in Red Velvet's career. Best Red Velvet match of all time. She is getting better, and she, attacks Statlander before the bell. Statlander, though, gets the better of that exchange, puts her on her back, and walks up from the floor all the way to the top turnbuckle and drops her. Velvet tries to chop down the tree. Statlander lands a sick deadlift German and Michinoku driver. 1, 2. Velvet Sky won't quit, but she eventually does take the L. Chris Statlander wins. The baddies attack her, pick the bones, and that's when Anna Jay has seen enough. She comes out there, but the number games prove too strong for even someone like Anna Jay to get the upper hand with. So then Athena comes out, and for some reason the officials stop Athena from getting to the ring. That stops the baddies from, assaulting 2 women on their roster. I don't know why the officials weren't concerned about these 2 people that were getting beaten up rather than stopping Athena from helping those 2 people get beaten up. But nonetheless, that's what happened, and the baddies stopped, and they just started bickering with each other as they went to break. Number 4 out of 9. Mox versus Kyle O'Reilly. This was a good match. I know I shed on the Battle Royal earlier, but it led to this match, and this match was solid. I love the part where O'Reilly bites the turnbuckle to get out of the hold, and Mox just kicks the rope. Or he doesn't bite the turnbuckle to get out of the hold. He bites the rope to get out of the hold, and Mox kicks the rope, fucking up Kyle O'Reilly's mouth there. Gotch-style pile driver, countered into a triangle by Kyle. That was pretty good. Paradigm shifts, 1, 2, 3. Mox gets the victory. We saw it coming from a mile away. And, we see this Tanahashi victory at Dominion coming from a mile away as well. So it's going to be Tanahashi versus Moxley. Winner gets the interim championship. That's going to be crazy either way. I kind of wanted to go to Tanahashi, shake things up a bit. But number 3 out of 9 this week, Kingston versus Hager. This might be the best Hager match in at least the last 10 years. These guys spend the first few minutes of this match just teeing off on one another. Kingston just grabs Hager's balls at one point. That's right. Just right there, just grabs his balls. And Taz goes, "This is a 5-on-2. I thought that was hilarious line from Taz. I popped for that one. DDT from Kingston. Hager bomb 1-2 no. Exploder from Kingston 1-2 no. Spinning back fist not once but twice. 1, 2, 3. Kingston gets the victory. Very solid match. And a match that was pretty solid as well, but just that much better at the number 2 spot. Pac versus Murphy. This was an awesome match between my two favorite 205 Live champions. Sorry, Cedric, you're number 3. You're a close number 3. I'd love to see you over in AEW one day so you could have fantastic matches again like you did on 205 Live. Both men trying to get one step ahead of the other one here, going back to the match. Buddy drops Pac on the turnbuckle. Pac hits a deadlift German and a lariat. Crazy sunset flip into a Liger bomb by Buddy Murphy. Poison Rana, Black Arrow, 1, 2, 3. Pac gets the victory. And that was number 2. Number 1 is the main event of Rampage. I always want to say Undisputed Era because they have the same initials, but the United Empire versus FTR and Trent Beretta. Aussie Open, big dudes here. I want to hear what JR thinks about these guys. I bet he's impressed. But they launch Will Ospreay into a dropkick into the turnbuckle. I've seen this happen in Lucha. I've seen it in Stardom, but it is ever more impressive to see guys their size do something like this. Harwood always looking good, showing fire, showing heart, hanging in there, not letting go of the Germans. Very Eddie Guerrero of them. Love that shit. Assisted cutter into a springboard 450 by United Empire. 1, 2. Trent breaks it up. Oz cutter to Cash. 1, 2. He just kicks out. No one had to break that up. I was shocked. Strong 0 to Beretta. 1, 2, 3. United Empire gets the victory. They stand tall on Rampage. Gotta love seeing the New Japan talent on AEW. It never gets old. Even if Tanahashi just walks out to the ring to agree to a match that in 2 days later we don't even get to see, I am still stoked on New Japan talent coming into AEW. I'm stoked for Forbidden Door. I'm stoked that you guys listen to this. I appreciate you guys more than you know. As always, fly high. I'm out.